Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Amuka here, and welcome to another day of Vlogmas. Doing a sit down and chat type of video. I wanted to kind of share something that is very dear and special to me with you guys, and we're gonna do that while folding my son's laundry. Today, December 12th, is a very special day. The reason it's a special day is because it's always going to be the birthday, or what could have been the birthday, of my second born, my angel baby. Before we start this video, I just want to give a huge disclaimer to anyone that is currently having a miscarriage, has had a miscarriage, or kind of are having signs that they may experience a miscarriage. I just want to say I am so sorry for what you are going through. I sympathize with you. I definitely know what it's like to be in those shoes. I am so sorry you're experiencing something like that. If this video is too much for you, or you are not ready to hear or discuss something like this, definitely please click off. Just a disclaimer, we will be talking about things that are a little bit graphic, and if it's something that you cannot handle, please feel free to click off and go watch some of my other videos in the iCards. But no, on a more serious note, I'm just a nervous laugher, so I'm not taking this conversation lightly. But please, if it's too much, definitely click off. And I know, like, especially as an African, I don't think I've heard a lot of people, you know, talk about miscarriage or experiencing it. So when I had my miscarriage, I was completely taken aback. For anyone that does not know or is new to my channel, I have a son. He is 19 months old. He is the light of my life. And like I said, I'm currently folding his laundry while he takes a nap. A little bit about me. I've always wanted to be a mom. When I was growing up, ask any of my family members, any of my siblings, I always said, I want 6 to 10 kids. Still feel that way, by the way. I used to say that once I start having kids, every single year, I want to have another one till I'm done having children. And that's huge, especially if you want a lot of kids. That's something that's gonna take a toll on your body. But when I got pregnant the second time, like when I got pregnant after Zeke, I was like, oh my gosh, my plan is working. But then tragedy hit, and it's weird having, it's not weird, but it feels different having a miscarriage after your first baby. And I can't speak for anyone that has had miscarriages like several times, or their first pregnancy was a miscarriage. But as for me, this was my first son, Zeke. He was my first pregnancy, first child, first everything. And then I got pregnant again, second pregnancy, took a pregnancy test, positive, and then miscarriage, first miscarriage. And this happened early this year, in May. So let's rewind. I had my son, and he is 19 months. Then I get pregnant. I believe I got pregnant in, I would say March. Oh no, I think I got pregnant in like February or March. And then we shared it with our family and some of our friends. And then I had a miscarriage at about 10 weeks in May, the day after my son's birthday. So his birthday is May 8th, and I had a miscarriage May 9th, or completed the miscarriage May 9th. It started on May 8th. I pushed through, and I went to the hospital on May 9th. So to share the story, like I said, it was my son's birthday, and everyone was around, like our family members, not everyone, but whoever could come came, and all my siblings were here. My mom was here, my mother-in-law, father-in-law. We were all here together, and my sister, one of my younger sisters, Tammy, she stayed back with me because Reggie had a work conference and he had to travel to Vegas. Like I said, my mom, my sister, my other sister, my brother, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, myself, and my husband were all in our apartment. My mom, my brother, my sister, and my father-in-law were all leaving on Monday. And Reggie was also leaving on Monday. He left Monday morning, and then my mom and my siblings and my father-in-law all left Monday evening. So who took Reggie to the airport? Did I take Reggie to the airport? I don't think I took Reggie to the airport, to be honest. I don't remember. I don't think I took Reggie to the airport. No, I think one of his co-workers came and got him and took him to the airport. But he was like, if you're in pain and everything, let me just stay. But I'm like, no, just go go for the conference. It's better so that, if it's nothing, then I won't feel bad or whatever. And he went for the conference. My mom, my family, everyone else except one of my sisters, Tammy, stayed back here in Missouri with us. Then the next morning, the 9th, May 9th, my mother-in-law was going back to Italy. Everyone was leaving, so I was like, oh, once everyone leaves, I get to rest, and my sister is staying, so she's gonna take care of the baby, and I will rest. But when my husband left, then I took my other family members to the airport, and everything was pretty fine. I didn't want to alarm anyone, so I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my mom, my mother-in-law, no one. I just was taking on the pain all by myself, and it just kept getting worse and worse. But I was praying, and I'm like, God, please help me. And I was bleeding a little bit, but I'm like, God, please, please, please. The bleeding stopped, and I was just like, oh, okay, everything is gonna be fine. I reached out to my doctor, and they're like, oh, let's just watch it and see. And I'm like, yeah, it was just really little, but in my heart, I kind of could tell what was going on, and I feel like I was convincing myself to just keep pushing through. But I was holding on, and I'm just like, you know what, everything's gonna be fine. But yeah, so fast forward, I'm still in pain, and at this point it's getting really, really bad. We go to bed that night. May 9th was when the pain was extreme. I dropped my mother-in-law off at the airport, and it just felt like, oh my gosh, every time it's getting worse. I was trying to distract myself. I'm like, all the birthday gifts and stuff, we're looking through the birthday gifts. I even built up my son's bike from his aunts and stuff, his auntie and uncle and everything. And I was just doing everything I could to I'm like, it's because I'm thinking about it that the pain is there, right? So I'm trying my best not to think about it, and I go to use the bathroom, and a big clump of blood just went into the bathroom. And I started messaging my doctors and everything, and I had to call, once I messaged, one of the nurses replied immediately and was just like, from what you're explaining, I think you need to come in. And when I tell you the blood, this is not like period blood. This is not like, just a period. This was blood, like nonstop. I sat on the toilet for hours. I told them, let me just watch and see. I'm not gonna come into the hospital, but thank God I did. And yeah, it was just crazy. I was bleeding so bad. I was sitting on the toilet in so much pain. I was sitting on the toilet for hours. My legs literally went numb. I had spoke to one of the nurses, and this nurse, I believe her name was Mary. Yes, she was my mom's namesake, which is crazy, but I'm saying her name because she's very important in this story. And I'm talking to her on the phone, and she's like, no, you need to come in, and I'm scheduling for someone to be here because my doctor wasn't at that hospital for that day. So she was like, I'm scheduling for the nurse practitioner to be able to see you on that day. You need to come in, yada, yada, yada. My appointment was in a couple hours from the time I spoke to her. So I was like, okay, by then everything should be good. I was still being hopeful, even though I knew what was going on. So, you know, I gather myself and I finally get myself off the toilet, and I tell my sister, you know, we have to go to the hospital. And she's just like, okay, you know, we get Zeke in. I'm not even thinking too far, but I'm just like, let's pack his diaper bag, you know, but then again, it's a hospital, so they should have diapers, whatever. We don't need to really worry. There's going to be vending machines. Now he eats solid food, but let's just go. At first, I was like, my sister, you know, I'll just go to the hospital, you stay here. She's like, no, I can't. Even if you won't let me drive, at least let's all go. No, let's just go. And thank God she did say that. So we get to the doctor's, and as we're there, you know, we're sitting in the waiting room, just like a normal, like, gynecology appointment. You know, I'm just sitting there waiting for my OB, and then they finally call me and they tell me they need to do an ultrasound. And because I'm still early in the pregnancy, this is still first trimester, they're like, you know, a transvaginal ultrasound, I believe is what it's called. And that's the one that internal ultrasound. And I look at the nurse, the ultrasound tech, and I'm like, no, I'm bleeding so bad. I don't think you understand. She's like, no, it's okay. We've seen that before, blah, 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 and everything. And I'm just like, I just was like, oh my gosh. And then I remembered I didn't even pack extra pad or underwear or anything. So that was where I messed up a little bit. But yeah, so I'm, you know, I get in there and they're doing the ultrasound, and like the blood was a lot. It was a lot. It was so much. And I was on FaceTime with Reggie, and he was just like, dang, like, oh my gosh, that's a, you know. And once he said that, I started crying, you know, and he's on the phone, you know, like so scared because he's freaking in his work conference and everything. And here I am going through this serious situation, and the blood was ridiculous. It was insane. And I told them, and I was like, oh, do you guys have extra pad and underwear and stuff? I didn't bring any extra ones. Tell me why the entire hospital, they couldn't find pads and underwear. It's just the maternity mesh underwear. So I, being the Nigerian girl, being the girl that's been to boarding school, I found a way to make something, and I made this diaper thing, because I was like, oh, the little pad, like it's kind of like a dog pee pad that they put on the bed for me to sit on. I just told them, okay, can you bring me a bunch of these and scissors and all that stuff? And I made my own like diaper-ish pad. And because I wore yoga pants, I made sure it was flat so that it doesn't look like I'm wearing a diaper. So pats on the back to me for that. But yeah, so I had to wear that, and then I was just losing so much blood. And after the ultrasound, they were like, okay, we're not gonna make you go to this waiting room. We're just gonna take you through the back so that you can go to your appointment to see your, the nurse practitioner will see you and tell you what everything that's going on, and basically explain what the ultrasound is saying and what we need to do in our next steps and blah, blah, blah. And once the nurse practitioner comes in, and not to say anything against her, but she was like stone cold, just by the books. Oh, this and this and this and this is what's happening and blah, blah, blah. And you're gonna have to go to the ER and have this and this and this. And I'm just like, what? Like, she's just talking so fast, I can't. And Reggie's on the phone and trying to speak to her, and literally I'm just like, can you give me one moment, please? And immediately, like, she's just like, oh, do you feel like you're gonna da da da? And I hear a knock on the door, and it's Miss Mary. I'm not gonna call her Mary because just, you know, when I saw her, I knew she was like an older lady and everything. And she comes in and she's like, oh, I saw her name and I knew she was gonna see you. And I spoke to her on the phone, and I just wanted to check if she's okay. And that woman came in and she hugged me. She hugged me and just told me everything is going to be okay, and that she's going to be the one to transport me to the ER, and that she knows everything that's going on and everything's going to be fine. And when she hugged me, I started crying and crying, but I'm bleeding so bad and crying, and I don't know what happened, but I just kind of fainted. And then they were like, when I came to, they were putting ice on my, like not ice, cold paper towels on my forehead and behind my neck. And, you know, they were like, oh, you know, can she stand up? And they even said call 911 and get a gurney and But Miss Mary was there fighting on my behalf, which was just so insane. And because she doesn't know me, I was so blessed that she was the one that, responded to my message that day. Because it could have been any other nurse. It could have been a nurse that doesn't actually work at the hospital, but it's just from like a respond, whatever. And she's just like, oh, no, I'm going to run her down myself to the ER. I'm going to stand with her and make sure that they actually see her and they don't keep her sitting there, because when she's sitting, you can't see the blood. So they could leave her to sit there, And she was just like an angel, literally an angel. So she was like, did you come here with anyone? I said, my son and my sister, they're in the waiting room. And she calls them and she was like, will you be able to call them? Or, and I call my sister and I tell her we're going, and she sees us and follows us. And that's when the whole deja vu started again, because literally that is how I was at my doctor's appointment, seeing my doctor, and they saw how swollen my feet was and all the stuff that I was going through. So they started wheeling me down to, be rushed into an induction to deliver my son. And now here I am exactly a year later in the same shirt, in the same outfit. It's not funny, but it's funny. In the same outfit. And it's like a nice shirt. It's my favorite shirt. It says peace over anxiety. And I'm wearing that shirt, and I literally, just the type of person I am, I'm like, let me just try and crack a joke or something. And I told the lady, I was like, this is deja vu. This is what happened to me a year ago with my son, but not a miscarriage. I was rushing to be induced to have him because of preeclampsia. And she's just like, oh, wow. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I'm just like, no, it's just so funny. She's just looking at me like, is it though? And, they're rushing me down and they get me to the ER. And as we're there, she doesn't let me sit in the waiting room. She's like, we called and she's supposed to be rushing into surgery. She's supposed to get a DNC and consent to the surgery and all that stuff. And Reggie was still on the phone, so he was hearing everything. He spoke to the surgeon that was going to do the DNC and everything. And then my son let out this cry that I have never heard before. If you're a mom, you know all the sounds of your child's cries. It's like a cry for hunger, a cry because they're sleepy, a cry because they just want to fake so that you can carry them, a cry for everything. This cry was a cry I've never heard before. And I'm just like, where's my son? Can I hold my son? Blah, blah, blah. And I'll insert the picture here. But once I put my son on my chest, it's like he knew something was wrong. And he just, listen, hear me out. I know I'm a first-time mom and it just seems like we just have this special bond and connection, but I'm telling you the truth. He telepathically, I feel silly saying it, but this is just how I feel. He telepathically, just told me in his own way, I'm here, you're safe, I love you, Mom, and I just want you to feel better. And that's what that hug felt like when I was holding my son. And after that, a couple minutes went by. Reggie prayed for me on the phone, and I went into the surgery, woke up feeling so much better. And just speaking about Zeke, he's awake. Anyways, after the surgery, everything went well. I was asking where the lady that helped me, Miss Mary, was. And they were like, oh, who? Oh, who? And then also, when I reached out online to see, the lady that helped me, where is she and everything, they said that, the name sounds familiar, but they think she retired. So that kind of felt like, God, did you send me an angel to make sure I went into surgery and made sure everything went well? God is always looking out for us in one way or the other. But anyway, back to the story. That was just something that I needed to mention because, like I said, Miss Mary was very important in this story. Baby. But yeah, so after the surgery, I felt so much better, immediately better. The only thing was my throat. I don't know what they had put in my throat, but it was like every time I swallowed, it was so painful. But yeah, so that was my experience having a miscarriage, but I wanted to share and encourage anyone that is in that season to keep on praying and thanking God for the life that you do have, that you are alive and well. It is so painful, and I am telling myself, because I had to grieve not only the fact that I didn't have my baby anymore. A couple of things I wanted to share for anyone that is going through it is a word of encouragement. Please don't lose hope. Please don't be sad. You know, it's even hard for me to say because it's been months for me, and there are moments where I still feel sad and I grieve what could have been. I grieve the dreams that I had as a young woman before having children, and that goal of having children every year till I'm done having kids. And all of those things are different things that the idea of what could have been that you're grieving as well. So please don't be discouraged, don't lose hope. And God's timing is always perfect. Ziggy, can you say, God's timing is always right? But yeah, God's timing is always right. God's timing is the best, and let's never lose sight of that. Another thing, for anyone that's curious, what surgery, it was a procedure. It was an outpatient surgery, so it wasn't like a surgery. It's a DNC, dilation curettage, I believe it's what it's called. And that's what I had. For me, my miscarriage started on, it was like 2 days. So it started like spotting, and it like gradually progressed to much more. And it was a lot of blood. I lost a lot of blood. And, you know, statistics say that 1 out of 4 women will experience a miscarriage. And it's crazy because that's not a small number. And that's about 10 to 21% out of 100 pregnancies that'll be a miscarriage. So that's a lot. And it's not something I know for me. I've heard about miscarriage. I know what a miscarriage is. My mom has taught me about that and everything, but I just never thought that I would experience a miscarriage. You know, as a child of God, as the daughter of the Most High, I didn't think that my Father would let me experience something like that, especially, you know, when you think of, oh, well, I did things the right way, and all the things, you know, you start to think like, and get upset and angry at God and at the situation. But it is something that later on in life, we might look back and see like, wow, I understand why this happened, or, you know, this is something that God, not even understanding why it happened, but a new level of strength that has been unlocked to teach you about something else in the future. Or you might be going through that to teach someone else, or to share your testimony and your experience with someone else. But I do have a friend that's gone through something similar. I know a couple of people that have had miscarriages, and when I went through mine, I thought I was alone and I didn't know anyone that's been through it. But when I talk about it and share with people that have gone through it and how they were able to still get pregnant and have healthy pregnancies after a miscarriage and all those things, it encouraged me, and I'm sharing my story to encourage you. For a while, it did weigh heavy on my heart, and I'm not gonna lie, I was depressed about it. I was, you know, very hurt about it. But yeah, just take this video as a word of encouragement, but I'm also making this video to share and honor what God is doing, has done in my life, and the fact that He blessed me enough to have a healthy pregnancy, get pregnant again, and sees me fit to deliver greatness into the world. It is not easy to have children, or to be pregnant with a child, or to deliver a child. And the fact that God saw me fit to do that 1.5 times, and in Jesus' name many more times in the future, I don't take that for granted. So the loss was painful, but I know that my angel baby is there waiting for me, and one day I will reunite with that child. and we will know each other. We will know ourselves when we're in heaven. We will see sometime in the future, or maybe God will decide to send you back to me completely, like, and go through everything completely, you know. So that is my experience with miscarriage. And another thing, why I said angel baby is not just because of the passing and everything. I had what was called blighted ovum. So I was pregnant and everything was going fine till a certain point, and everything stopped. My uterus was still growing, but it was just an empty sac. So my body recognized that I was pregnant and was doing all the things. I was having all the first trimester symptoms, the fatigue, for me, nose bleeding and all that stuff and everything. But as my body was changing, the baby either stopped growing and couldn't be seen on an ultrasound, or kind of the tissues just dissolved or something. You know, blighted ovum can't really be explained. It is just said to be an empty sac, and that was what I had. So every time I think about this pregnancy, I just think of my angel baby, because angels, you can't really see them, but they're always there, and that was what was in my womb, an angel. I could feel the feeling of pregnancy, and I knew I was pregnant. The test said I was pregnant and all of that. But we just couldn't see the baby on the ultrasound and everything. So, you know, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for folding laundry with me. I hope you guys are done with all your chores. I'm not, but that doesn't matter. And I'm glad you guys got to spend some time with Zeke today. Thanks for watching this video. If you know anyone or have experienced this yourself, definitely let me know what your experience is in the comments down below. Let's discuss, let's share with each other, let's encourage one another, and let's grow from our experiences. So anyways, I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow in another Vlogmas episode, back to our regular scheduled program of actual vlogs. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for spending time with me, spending time with us today, and hearing my story. I just felt like it was needed for me to share this story. Just like I shared the amazing, interesting, traumatic birth story of this one, I am going to do the same. That was the birth story of my second baby. So thanks for watching, and hopefully in the future the story is different. But till then, we will never know. Anyways, see you guys tomorrow. Stay blessed and not stressed, and I am out. Anyways, bye you guys. See you tomorrow.